2018 was a great year for horror movies, but horror fans have even more to look forward to over the next couple of years. Intriguing remakes, sequels to smash hits, and awesome original projects from beloved filmmakers are all making their way to horror fans in 2019. 2017's Happy Death Day was a surprise hit, a slashery take on Groundhog Day that cleverly milked its premise for scares and featured a winning lead performance from Jessica Rothe. The original film's ending saw our heroine's time loop finally broken, but director Christopher Landon has teased that he left some important details unanswered for the sequel. Landon will handle scripting duties in addition to directing this time around, with much of the cast set to return. Rothe has confirmed that the sequel will indeed pick up right where the first film left off, comparing its aesthetic to the Back to the Future series. Happy Death Day 2U is expected to hit theaters on February 14, 2019. The directing team of Kevin Kolsch and Dennis Widmeyer will helm the upcoming remake of one of Stephen King's scariest stories. Pet Sematary has a killer creative team lined up, with a script co-written by David Kaganich, who wrote this year's Suspiria. Jason Clarke will star as the beleaguered father Louis Creed alongside Amy Seimetz as his wife Rachel, while John Lithgow will play the Creed's neighbor Judd. The film is set to spook audiences on April 5th, which gives you plenty of time to rewatch the terrifying 1989 original.
I finally came back for you, Rachel. I'm going to twist your back like mine so you'll never get out of bed again.
The Curse of La Llorona is an upcoming flick based on a famous Mexican urban legend surrounding the ghost of a mysterious woman. Director Michael Chavez makes his feature debut on the film, and early reviews are extremely positive. A recent screening at San Diego Comic-Con reportedly brought down the house. The cast is headed up by Linda Cardellini and Raymond Cruz, a veteran actor who made an indelible impression as the psychotic Tuco Salamanca in Breaking Bad.
Oh! Damn, man! Look at that! Look! Whew! That's messed up.
Set in the 70s, the film follows Cardellini as a widowed social worker who begins to turn up unsettling similarities between her family's own tragedy and that of a case she's investigating. It turns out that both of them may have ties to the vengeful ghost that the movie is named after. The legend of La Llorona is well known in Mexican culture, but it's all set to go mainstream on April 19, 2019. 2004's The Grudge, based on the 2002 Japanese film Ju-on, didn't exactly wow critics, but audiences were scared out of their shorts by the film's insanely creepy imagery. Next year, audiences will once again have a chance to get spooked by the vengeful ghosts in the upcoming remake. This revival holds significant promise for one good reason: the involvement of writer-director Nicholas Pesce, whose 2016 debut feature Eyes of My Mother was a masterclass in suspense and atmosphere. John Cho and Lin Shaye have joined the cast, and Sam Raimi, producing the film through his Ghost House Pictures imprint, has said that the new adaptation will draw on the source material rather than the 2004 version. Grudge is scheduled to arrive on June 21st. The Conjuring universe just can't seem to stop expanding outwards. As if the recently released The Nun and the newly announced The Crooked Man wasn't enough, a certain supernaturally possessed porcelain doll will be coming back for Annabelle 3 next year. Returning screenwriter Gary Dauberman will be taking over the directing reins as well in his debut for the as-yet untitled Annabelle sequel. The film will see the return of the Conjuring psychic investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, played by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. The Annabelle sequel will reach the big screen on July 3rd. From the moment that 2017's It ended, speculation has been running rampant about a sequel. In particular, who would fill the roles of the adult versions of the Losers Club? Well, wonder no more, since It Chapter 2 has cast a bevy of excellent actors to play the modern-day version of the Losers Club. Jessica Chastain, James McAvoy, and Bill Hader will all join the cast, while the extremely talented child actors that anchored the first It will appear in flashbacks. And of course, Bill Skarsgård will return as Pennywise in all of his terrifying glory. Considering that It shocked everyone by virtue of being one of the best horror films of the decade, It Chapter 2 is one of the most highly anticipated films of the year in any genre. But it's got a pretty long wait. The film is slated to hit theaters on September 6th. Escape rooms, in which people pay to figure out how to liberate themselves from seemingly escape-proof places, have become all the rage in recent years. So it's anybody's guess what took Hollywood so long to come up with a thriller based on the claustrophobic premise. But finally, here we are. The aptly titled Escape Room is coming our way in 2019. The film brings together 6 strangers who receive mysterious invitations to participate in a hardcore escape room which promises a $1 million prize to anyone crafty enough to complete its challenge. As seen in the harrowing trailer, this is a room which has ways of making sure nobody ever leaves. Director Adam Robitel, responsible for Insidious: The Last Key, as well as the underrated The Taking of Deborah Logan, will be at the helm, with a cast headed up by Deborah Ann Woll, Taylor Russell, and Logan Miller. Escape Room will make its debut immediately after the new year, on January 4th. 2017's Split was a triumphant return to form for M. Night Shyamalan, following years of questionable choices and poor reviews. Telling the story of Kevin Wendell Crumb, a man with 24 distinct personalities, the film was a lean, triumphant piece of horror filmmaking. It also had the old patented Shyamalan twist. Split revealed itself at the end via a well-placed Bruce Willis cameo as a stealth sequel to Shyamalan's 2000 hit Unbreakable.
And you gave him a funny name, too. What was it?
Mr. Glass.
Speculation immediately started running rampant that a third installment was forthcoming, and it didn't take Shyamalan long to confirm that Glass, named for Samuel L. Jackson's villainous Unbreakable character, would reach theaters in 2019. Jackson himself didn't realize there'd be a need for him to reprise his role until he saw Split, but as he told a CinemaCon audience, he's thrilled about it for a specific reason. "It's about time I got the title role in my own movie." The trailer features Sarah Paulson as a psychiatrist specializing in patients who think they're superheroes, and considering the superpowered denizens of the Glass universe, she's probably bitten off more than she can chew. It appears Jackson's Mr. Glass will once again be pulling strings, manipulating Willis's David Dunn into a confrontation with the Beast. McAvoy also returns, as does Split's Anya Taylor-Joy. Glass premieres on January 18th. Ever since MGM quietly resurrected the long-defunct Orion Pictures imprint in 2014, the studio has struggled to find an identity. Once responsible for classics such as First Blood, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and Silence of the Lambs, Orion has spent the last 4 years cranking out films which have gone largely unnoticed by the general public, with a couple of exceptions like The Town That Dreaded Sundown and James Gunn's 2017 thriller The Belko Experiment. Those films were fairly well received and enjoyed relatively high profiles, and they had something else in common. They're among the studio's only horror pictures making up their post-2014 output. Perhaps MGM execs finally noticed the extreme profitability of the genre in recent years, because Orion's first effort of 2019, The Prodigy, looks suitably terrifying. Nicholas McCarthy will direct the film, which looks to put a new spin on the creepy child subgenre. Plot details are thin, but the trailer looks atmospheric as all get out, and the film boasts a pretty stellar cast. We may have an omen for a new generation on our hands. Fox Studios' New Mutants, part of its Marvel X-Men universe, has had a troubled history. Originally scheduled for release in April 2018, it was first pushed back 10 months to February 2019, and then an additional 6 months to August, after a series of test screenings didn't produce the reaction the studio had hoped for. Audiences responded well to the film, but Fox had been shooting for stellar scores and decided to take extra time to make New Mutants as good as it could be. Since it will be the first true horror film of the X-Men franchise, this seems like a reasonable approach. The trailer released ahead of the film's initial release date promised a claustrophobic, creepy good time. But this is a film in which tone will be everything. The recent deal between Fox and Disney, which will likely see the X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Deadpool end up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe at some point, doesn't seem to have affected Fox's plans for New Mutants. The film will appear in theaters too soon for any cross-pollination to take place, even if any was planned. Despite rumors that the long delay and Disney deal meant the project might be shelved, it's been confirmed that New Mutants will arrive in theaters on August 2nd. Followed may sound a bit familiar at first. It's part of the new breed of found footage flick known as screen life, in which all the action takes place within the confines of computer and smartphone screens. If it seems like a cheap gimmick, consider that the well-received Unfriended and its sequel established the viability of the device as an effective storytelling tool, and the John Cho-led Searching did even better critically. And despite its similarly techie title, Followed doesn't appear to be simply capitalizing on this trend, but expanding on it. The film stars Matthew Solomon as a controversial vlogger who specializes in the sick and twisted, who must up the ante after a benefactor promises a huge influx of cash if he can pump up his subscriber base by Halloween. He plans to get a subscriber bump by live streaming his stay in a haunted hotel, which of course does not go according to plan. Aside from its Unfriended meets 1408 premise, the film innovates by periodically breaking the immersion to take on the first-person viewpoint of whoever is watching the video clips, adding to the growing mystery of just what exactly is going on here. Followed made its debut in 2018 at the Burbank International Film Festival, where it took home the prize for Best Horror Feature, making it one of the more intriguing horror films to watch once an official release date gets announced. 2017's 47 Meters Down was a tense nail-biter of a deep-sea thriller, featuring Mandy Moore and Claire Holt as sisters who get way more than they bargained for on a shark-watching adventure in Mexico. The modestly budgeted production turned a respectable profit, so in 2019, Entertainment Studios will bring us 47 Meters Down: The Next Chapter. The sequel will feature an all-new group of characters in a Brazilian locale who run into some serious shark-based problems while searching for a lost underground city.